Hello everyone, welcome and welcome back to my channel. I'm here today with a video that I don't think I've done before, but I might be lying, maybe I have done this before. Anyway, for the next week, well 5 days, I'm going to do like working week, so for the next 5 days, a random number generator is going to choose how many pages I read in a day. I'm going to caveat this by saying I am a slow reader. I'm not 100% sure what number to actually go with, but we're just going to give this a go. Today is Thursday. I am working today. It's currently the morning, so I haven't started work yet, but I'm going to be working all day. So any pages we get, I'm going to have to read on my lunch break or after work later. The first book that I would like to get done in this video is Once Upon a Broken Heart by Stephanie Garber. I have already started this. I actually read a bit this morning before I remembered that I needed to film this. So this morning I started on page 150 and I'm now on page 154. So I only read 4 pages before I remembered that I needed to film this intro. Yeah, this is the first book that I want to finish. If you don't know, this is the first book in the Once Upon a Broken Heart series, but this follows the Caraval trilogy. I finished the Caraval trilogy a couple of weeks ago. Sorry, my voice is croaky, I don't know what's going on. And I've really been wanting to read this for a long time. Originally, I only read Caraval to get to this, which you don't have to do, but like in my brain, I couldn't not. And to be fair, the plot of Caraval did sound interesting to me, and I ended up loving it. And now I'm very, very excited to get onto this. So far, I've heard a few people say that this is written very young, and I agree. This almost even feels younger to me than Caraval. I think it's because, particularly the character of Donatella in the Caraval trilogy, even though she's not the main character in the first book, she's the main character's sister. I think her kind of personality makes them seem ever so slightly older. In this book, Evangeline does feel very young, very naive, and it is making the book read quite young, but I am still enjoying it. I kind of went into this expecting, like, it is a YA book, so I went into it expecting that. I think it definitely feels like quite young YA at the moment, but again, it is only the first book, so maybe things will ramp up a little bit, and maybe things will be a bit more, like, dramatic and have some stakes, maybe, in the rest of the trilogy, because this is a trilogy. I don't know if I mentioned that. But yeah, look how stunning this is, by the way. Like, it's just one of the most beautiful books that I own. So yeah, that's the first book that we are going to aim to finish in this video. I've got a couple of others on my radar, but that's the one that we're going to try and finish first. So, without further ado, let's see how many pages we're going to read today. I think I'm going to put it at between like 50 and 200, and we'll see how we go. If that ends up being like too much or not enough, we can always adapt on the other days, but I think for today, let's just go for that. So just to show you, it's currently 1 and 10 with 3. I haven't generated the 3, it's already there, just so you know I'm not cheating. So let's put 50 to 200 and click generate. Did that click? Yes. 62. Okay, easy. Hello, it is still the same day. It's just lunchtime now, like the end of my lunch break, so I'm going back to work in a moment. But I've been reading some more of Once Upon a Broken Heart. I've been listening to it on audio. I popped out on my lunch and had a little walk and listened to some of this whilst I was out. So I am now on page 268. So I've already done my pages for today. I've currently read 117 pages because I started on page 151 and I'm on page 268. So that's one. Maths is not my strong suit. But I know that I've read over 100 pages today, so I think tomorrow we're going to up the numbers because, I don't know, it'll just make it more interesting. And by the way, I'm doing this challenge to make me read more. So I don't know, all the people I've seen, if they get a small number, they can read more than it. You don't just have to read the number of pages. Like, I wasn't sure how to do it, but everyone I've seen do this. I'm sure there are people that have done it the other way, but the people that I've seen do this haven't done it. It's like if you get 53, you read 53. You have to read at least the number that you get. I don't know, maybe if people don't like it this way, I can try it the other way in the future where I can only read a certain number of pages in a day. But the reason I'm doing this video is to get me to read more, so it seems kind of counterintuitive. So that's the way I'm doing it anyway. Whatever number I get, I have to read at least that number of pages in that day. And we've done that. Basically, all I'm doing for the rest of the day is working, and then I'm going to get some stuff done around the house. So I just wanted to let you know that we've done today's pages. So when I come back tomorrow, I'll obviously tell you how far I got into this and tell you how many pages total I read today, and we will regenerate the number for tomorrow. It also means that we've got a few pages in the bank, so if one day of this challenge for some reason I don't get all of my pages in, we can carry some over, but I'm hoping we won't need to do that. I'm hoping that we can just hit the page count every day. But yeah, I think I'm going to make the numbers bigger. Tomorrow I might do in between like 100 and 200 and see how we get on, and then we might even make it a bit higher on some other days of this challenge. But yeah, I am over halfway through this now, and I don't know, I'm enjoying it, but I definitely get people's criticisms about it. It feels very young. It feels like Evangeline, and the way that she's written doesn't match the actual stakes of the story. I don't know, she feels like really, really young, and there's some quite like stuff that could be quite dramatic going off, but it's lessened by the fact that it's written in a really young way. I don't know how to describe what I mean, but I've heard other people have similar criticisms. I don't think there's anything that I dislike about it. It's just not hitting as hard as I thought it would based on how much people rave about this. But then again, I'm not at the end, and I do love Jax. I love the character of Jax, and I feel like all my hope is kind of hinging on him. So I'm really hoping that he continues to feature like very prominently, and hopefully he like ramps the story up a little bit, because so far it is just a bit like, you know, it's nicely written and that it's fairy tale-esque and the setting seems very beautiful, blah blah blah, but it's just not hitting quite as hard as I wanted it to. But yeah, I'm enjoying it. It's just not like, do you know what I mean? I don't know if you know what I mean. But I'm gonna go now and I will come back tomorrow, speak about how far I got into this, let you know what I'm thinking, and decide how many pages I'm gonna read tomorrow. Good morning everyone, it's now Friday, so we are on to day 2 of this video. Please excuse the background. I'm cleaning all the carpets in my house today, so I've just scooped up everything off the floor and thrown it on the sofa behind me, so please do excuse the mess. But unfortunately, there's no real good place to film right now because I've already cleaned the carpets in the book room, so I can't go and sit in there. So here we are. Anyway, yesterday I ended up reading considerably more than 62 pages. I ended up reading 200 pages of Once Upon a Broken Heart. And then I also ended up starting Unravel Me. This is also on my TBR for the month. And I just fancied something a bit different. I've listened to quite a lot of this on audio, just for full transparency. But if you're going to come in my comments and say that that doesn't count as pages, I'm not hearing it. A, that's ableist, and B, literally it does because I'm still consuming the same story. So I've been going back and forth anyway between listening to the audio and physically reading this. So I did 200 pages and then I did a whopping 10 pages of Unravel Me. I don't have the audio for this, so this is strictly going to be my physical read. But I think what I'm going to do today, as I said, I've got quite a lot of stuff to do around the house, so I'm going to finish off this, probably listening to the audio because I've not got that much left now. I'm on page 351 and it's got just under 400 pages, so I've only got like 50 pages left of this, and then the remaining pages we will do probably with this. I might have to start another audio book because I reckon there's really not very long at all left of that one, so we might end up starting the second one in this series I think as well, and then having this as our physical read of the week. But anyway, the time has come. We need to generate how many pages we're going to read today, and as I said, I think I'm going to put the numbers up. So I'm going to, shall I keep the bottom one at 50? No, let's put the bottom one at 100, and should we just go for it? No, let's do, I was going to put 300, I think that's a bit ambitious. Let's put 250, so between 100 and 250 pages. Again, the 3 was already there. Generate 248. Okay, that is more than yesterday. But then again, I was working yesterday. We've got all day today to sit and read and listen to audiobooks while I'm getting my jobs done. So I'm going to sit now and have some breakfast because I am hungry and it is 10 to 10 and I've not eaten yet. So I'm going to sit and have some breakfast and do some physical reading. I'll probably read this just because I'm at the end of a chapter with this, so it seems easy. Or shall I just read? No, I'm going to listen to the rest of this on audio because I'm at the end of a chapter, so it's easy to find my place in the audiobook, and I'm going to sit and physically read this while I eat my breakfast. Not the background literally being even worse than this morning, and I'm aware I kind of look the same. It is now the night time. I've just put my hoodie back on over my pajamas. So just to clarify, like, because I'm weird about these things, this is an indoor hoodie. I don't wear this outside. I wouldn't like put this on over clean PJs after wearing it outside. This is an indoor wearing to bed zip up hoodie. Just to clarify, just in case anyone else cares. But obviously, as I said, I was cleaning the carpets today, so the rug and everything is now behind me. and it'll go back down tomorrow when I think the carpets are dry, but I just want to let them air overnight before I put everything back down. But anyway, that's not what you're here for. You don't care about that. I have several reading updates for you. So today's page goal was 248 pages. We ended up reading the final few pages of Once Upon a Broken Heart. So I believe that was either 51 or 52 pages. We'll round it down to 50 for the sake of this, but I will put the exact numbers that I read each day, like at the end of the video. We'll talk through it all anyway. So let's just, for the sake of maths at 10 o'clock at night, make that 50 pages. And let's count the pages now and give you my wrap up. I then started The Ballad of Never After, which is the book that comes straight after this one. I thought, let's just go into it. Again, the audiobook was available on Libby. So I thought, let's practice what I preach when I keep saying that I want to read series back to back, and let's actually do that. So I am currently on page 288. So obviously I started on page 0. So we did the page goal for today just with this book. I probably won't read any more of this tonight. I'm going to read my other book, which I'll talk about in a sec. But yeah, 288. Not bad. Most of which was consumed on audio whilst I was, you know, cleaning the floors. I've cleaned all the carpets. I've hoovered all the carpets. I've mopped all the hard floors. Call me Cinderella. Anyway, and then how many pages have I read of Unravel Me? I'm on page 42. So I think I've read about 30 pages-ish of this. I honestly haven't added it up before starting this clip because I knew I'd done the pages for the day just with this one anyway. So let's do a quick roundup of what I'm feeling about all of these books. I gave this a 3-star because I just feel nothing. I just couldn't even really be bothered to think of a more specific rating than that because it just made me feel nothing at all. Just completely, it was fine. It was fine. There was nothing bad per se about this. There was nothing that happened that really annoyed me. The characters were fine. It was just fine. And that was kind of the issue. I was expecting this to be completely groundbreaking based on what everyone was saying about it. And unfortunately, it just wasn't. I did love the setting. I think this had a bit more of the whimsy that the first Caraval book had. So my criticism with the Caraval trilogy, I did enjoy it overall. But I feel like in the first Caraval book, we really got a lot of magic, a lot of whimsy. And then in the second and third Caraval books, we did have magic, but we lost the like whimsical element of the magic. It was all just a bit too, I don't know. It wasn't fairy tale enough for me. It didn't feel magical even though there was a lot of magic. This definitely felt magical. When people say this feels like a fairy tale, absolutely it does. However, it felt like a middle grade. And that went right up until the end. Like, it just completely felt like a middle grade book to me, which is fine. But the plot isn't a middle grade plot necessarily. I feel like some quite high stakes things are happening, but you don't really feel the extent of the stakes. Well, I didn't feel the extent of the stakes because Evangeline feels so young and so juvenile in the way that she's written, but also the writing of this book I feel like is a lot more simplistic than the Caraval trilogy. Not that that was complex, it wasn't. It was simple, but this was like next level. Like, it felt middle grade. It didn't feel YA to me, which if I was in the mood for a middle grade, that'd be great, but I wasn't. And it's not marketed as one. So I gave it 3 stars. I don't feel any ill will towards this book. As I keep saying, it just kind of made me feel nothing. So then I went straight into The Ballad of Never After. This has definitely ramped up a little bit, but the writing is still the same. And that's kind of still the problem here. Like, I don't want to say it's a problem, like it's fine. But I think that's the reason I'm just not really feeling anything. Like, I've seen so many people on Goodreads say that this is heartbreaking. And obviously I'm not at the end of the book, so something more impactful hopefully is going to happen. But as of right now, I'm still not feeling it. Like, a lot more is happening in this book, definitely. I feel like the pace of this one has significantly ramped up, which I like. I still love Jax, but I don't feel anything. Like, I'm not feeling the impact of these events that are happening because it feels so juvenile. I don't know, it's frustrating me. I'm going to just obviously have to see how I feel at the end of this one. I definitely feel like this is a higher rating than the first one already. I do see people's point that this one feels more heartbreaking, but like my heart isn't broken. Do you know what I mean? It's just, again, it's fine. Like, it's good, it's fine. That is all. And the final book that I'm currently reading is still Unravel Me. Still haven't read very much of this. I'm reading it so slowly. I don't know what my problem is. I don't want to sound like, you know, Yana got bullied on TikTok for saying there's so many words on the page. She was clearly talking about the formatting of the book, guys. Like, let's not create drama for drama's sake. The formatting of this book isn't cute. The text is very small, so there are a lot of words on each page. That's not a criticism, that's just kind of, I think that explains why I'm reading it slowly, is because obviously it just takes longer to read a page. It also is a thick book. This series by Becca Mack, I'm not saying it doesn't have any emotional elements, it definitely does, like the characters definitely have issues, but it's not got like a mystery plot or anything in it where I'm like wanting to race through. It's just kind of a sit down and read this when I want a cute giggly time kind of book. But I am enjoying it. I was worried going into this, I can't lie. I loved the first book in this series, which is a very unpopular opinion. A lot of people don't like it. I just thought it was a fun, goofy, silly time. The second one was fine, but it was way too long. Like, it was too boring of a romance to warrant that length of book. I didn't dislike the romance, but it should have been no more than 300 pages for what it was. So I was very nervous going into this that it's going to be the same, and it still might end up being. I'm only 43 pages in, so it still might end up feeling too long by the time I get to the end. But I like the characters. I think they have potential to have some great chemistry. I like the fact that there's a lot of dogs. There are dogs. So that's automatically bumping the rating up a little bit. But yeah, I do fear that things are moving a little bit quick. Nothing's happened on page 43, but I get the vibe that maybe things are going to progress between them quite quickly. They both seem quite like eager to get going. So we'll see how that pans out, but I am enjoying this. Like, it's just fun. I just don't necessarily think these books need to be as long as they are. I think this Becca Mack series just should be like a 300-page palette cleanser kind of book, and then I would probably rate them more highly. But I am looking forward to this. We'll see how it goes. So yeah, these are the two books that I am still currently reading. I'm going to sit down and read a little bit of this. I probably won't get far in. I'm starving and I'm tired, so I'm going to have a snack, and then I probably won't stay up for too much longer. I'll probably end up going to bed. But I'm going to read a little bit more of this and then aim to finish this one probably tomorrow. What I am going to do is, I think we should probably choose tomorrow's pages now, because my boyfriend's going to be here all day tomorrow. I'm going to like wake up, stick a camera in his face and be like, let's generate a number. He doesn't like being on camera, so I kind of want to know what number I'm doing. I also wake up a lot earlier than him, so I want to have the number ready so I can just wake up and start reading and not have to worry about filming when he's asleep. So I'm filming this clip on my phone, by the way. Apologies for that. Let me go grab my camera so I can generate the number on my phone. Apologies for the lighting. I don't think it's quite as good. I never know if the quality is better on the camera or on my phone. I honestly have no idea. And also, sorry that you can like see my socks. They are clean, at least. Anyway, we're going to keep it. I don't know what Google's obsession with the number 3 is. It's always just on the number 3. We're going to keep it between 1 and 250, I think. I'm going to have less time to listen to audiobooks tomorrow, and I'll be reading more physically when I have time to read, which means I will read less. I do read more when I'm reading on audio because it forces me not to get distracted. I know some people get distracted when they listen to audio, and the other way around. I find it a lot easier to get distracted when I'm supposed to be looking at something, whereas if the noise is just in my ears, I just feel like I have to listen to it. I don't know. Anyway, you literally don't care. Generate 133. Okay, I'm quite glad about that, I can't lie. I was hoping it would be a little bit lower tomorrow because we might be having some family come round to see the house. Obviously, I'll move the socks before they come. My point is, we might be having people come around tomorrow, so I am definitely going to have less time tomorrow to actually sit and read. But yeah, 133 is the aim for, what day is it tomorrow? Saturday. So I'll pop back in at some point tomorrow and let you know how I'm getting on. I really don't know why I've decided that this like random corner is my new filming spot when it's just not aesthetic in any way, shape or form. But it's in front of a window, so it's just convenient for now to sit here and film. It is now, what day is it? Sunday. It's Easter Sunday, and I have reading updates. I haven't started reading for today yet, so we're gonna recap yesterday's reading. I've already chosen my pages for today, but we'll talk about that in a sec, and then we will actually start reading for the day. So I did write down, because I couldn't film a clip last night, I did make notes of like my thoughts and my feelings so that we could accurately recap everything. So Yesterday's goal was 133 pages and I ended up reading 387. Again, the audiobooks are really getting me through this. I did a decent amount of physical reading, but a lot of that was listening to my audiobooks. So, first of all, I finished, if I can just get it, I have the books stacked up next to me so that I can talk about them. I finished The Ballad of Never After and I gave this 3.75 stars. I definitely preferred it to the first one. Things were ramping up a little bit here. I just really wish that all the books in this series were at least dual point of view or multiple points of view. I think the world and the plot are very interesting, but the fact that Evangeline is written in such a juvenile way is just kind of lessening the impact for me. And I said that on Fable and someone commented saying, well, like, it's YA. No, I've read YA fantasy before. I read quite a lot of YA fantasy. The Caraval trilogy did not feel juvenile to me personally at all. And it's literally by the same author. So it's definitely just this series where Evangeline, personally to me, feels very young. Like, she's written much younger than she is. And she's just very clueless. Like, it'd just be a lot more hard-hitting if we got the point of view of someone that, like, had a clue what was going on. Because she's just, like, bless her, she's just oblivious. She does not have a clue, and I think that kind of lets the story down a little bit, but I definitely enjoyed it more than the first one. So 3.75. I'm just checking that there's nothing else on my notes, but I don't think there is. I think that was everything. I think that was all of my thoughts. And then I started A Curse for True Love, which, thank God, has multiple POV. I'm not going to say who the POVs are. I don't think it would be a spoiler, but I don't want to risk it just in case. So we have multiple different POVs in here, and I'm just over 50% of the way through, and it's definitely helping. I'm very nervous though, because a lot of people don't like this book, so I'm really tentative, like, I don't know, to get invested in this, because I'm scared that I'm not going to like it because everyone gives it bad reviews. But so far I am very pleasantly surprised by this one. I still can't get over how beautiful the covers are of this series, by the way, but anyway, irrelevant. So yeah, I'm really intrigued by the plot of this one at this point. I'm intrigued by the multiple points of view. I'm so glad, I don't really care for one of them, but like, it's fine. Their chapters aren't very long anyway. But one of the points of view we've been needing this since book one. Getting to see inside this character's head is so fascinating. And I'm very excited for this. I'm going to carry on listening to this one in a minute, because guess what? I've got more house jobs to do. Surprise, surprise. Can I put those somewhere? We'll put them there. Then I ended up putting down Unravel Me. So I read 40 pages of this yesterday, and I've just temporarily decided to put this one down. It's just nonsense. And I'm saying that as someone that liked the first book in this series that a lot of people didn't like. This one, for me, we're taking this one step too far. Why are they in love talking about being together forever on page 71? Or somewhere around page 71. That was a random guess. But like around the 70-80 page mark, they have a conversation and she's like, you could keep me forever. You don't even know each other's birthdays. What do you mean you can keep me forever? Grow up. Please grow up. They are acting like they are literally 14 years old. She's 24. I don't know how old he is. I think he's probably a little bit older than her, but like, they're in their mid to late 20s and they are acting like they are 14-year-olds that have never liked someone before. And it's just nonsense. Like, it's just doing my head in. I actually like their chapters when they're not together. It's as soon as they're in the same vicinity, they just like wax poetic to each other and they don't even know each other. Like, I've literally put this down on page 88 and I swear I would not be surprised if they got married right now at this point in the book. Like, it's just Insta everything. It's just absolutely ridiculous and I can't be doing with it. So I'm going to put this down for now. I'm not saying it's a DNF forever, but it's a DNF for now. I'm just not in the mood for this. So I then picked up, because as I've said, I'm listening to the Once Upon a Broken Heart trilogy on audio because I have the nice special editions and I don't want to ruin them. So I wanted a book that I could sit down in the evenings and physically read, and I've replaced Unravel Me with Wretched, I still don't know how to say this, by Emily McIntyre, or McIntyre, I don't know how to say that either. I would say McIntyre, but I've heard Americans say McIntyre, and I don't know if that's because they're American. and we have different accents, or if that's just how you say it. Sorry, I don't know. This is part of a series, if you don't know. What's it called? I can't remember what the series is called. The first one is called Hooked, the second one is called Scarred. Never After, the Never After series. And it's basically, it's not retellings, it's like reimaginings, or Emily describes it as like fractured fairy tales. It's basically Disney reimaginings, but from the point of view of the villain. And they are still a villain, like they don't try and make the villain the good guy, like all these books are on the point of view of villains. But you kind of root for them and you can recognise, like, it doesn't just copy the Disney story, it's definitely got, they have a lot of their own elements, but you can like recognise different characters' names and things like that, which is very fun. So this one is a Wizard of Oz reimagining. I don't know what to describe it as, we're just going to call it a reimagining. It's a Wizard of Oz reimagining, and this one's really cool because, so in the first two, the like proper villain was the male main character. They are, I believe, all dual point of view, so you get to see both. And definitely in the first two, the women had like also questionable morals. It wasn't necessarily, especially in the second one, it wasn't like the most innocent, like good FMC and then a villain. Usually they're both a bit like shady. But in this one, the main villain is the female main character, which is fun. And the male main character, who we've just met, is like an agent, like an undercover agent of some kind. So I definitely think that is fun. I think it's a nice dynamic that we get to see the female main character as the one that is like the villain, so to speak. So I'm very, very excited for this. I'm not very far in. I'm literally on page 14. I didn't end up reading that much last night because we watched the 1% Club and played along. So I didn't read much and I went to bed because I was tired. But I'm so excited to get more into this later on today. So that is where we've landed now. This morning I I generated the number of pages that I'm going to read today. I put the screen recording on the screen now, and we got 127 pages, and I've currently read none, and it's midday. So we're going to crack on with some reading. I'm going to go do some house jobs. I'm going to listen to A Curse for True Love. I'm going to try and finish that today. I would like to round out the trilogy and get that one done, and then, as I said, later on today we'll sit down and read some more of whatever way you say the title of this book. Hello everyone, it is now Friday. No, it's not, it's Monday. I'm losing my mind. I'm not feeling my best today, you might be able to tell by looking at me. It's a flare-up kind of day. Anyway, it's Monday. We're gonna generate the pages for today in a minute, but just to recap yesterday, I ended up reading 267 pages and the goal was 127, so again, I've surpassed it. I don't feel like I'm really getting across how surprised I am at this. I genuinely thought I would fail every day, but it's literally just because I've been listening to so many audiobooks because I've just got so much to do around the house. Today's going to be different because I am not feeling good. So we're going to be sat down reading today. So again, quickly before we get on with today, I finished A Curse for True Love and I gave it 4 stars. It was my favourite one in the series, which I wasn't expecting based on other people's reviews, but I think I enjoyed it because I wasn't too invested, because I wasn't obsessed with the first 2 books. It wasn't really anything to like let me down, if that makes sense. It was quite easy to impress me, and I was just really happy that we got the multiple POVs. I wish we'd got more of them, not more people, but more of a certain character's point of view, because I feel like we just never really got in their head and never understood why they acted the way they acted at a lot of points, and I really wish that we'd got to see inside their head more. I can't really say the name. I really don't know if it's a spoiler to say who. I don't think it is, but I just don't want to risk it. But anyway, I finished that, 4 stars, cute fun series, not obsessed, not my favourite, but I definitely liked it and I'm glad that I read it. Then I read 30 pages of Wretched. I really need to learn how to pronounce the title of this book. I read 30 pages of this, which means I am on page 44, and I've temporarily decided to put this down, not because I'm not enjoying it. So obviously I put Unravel Me down because I just wasn't enjoying it. I wasn't enjoying this, but not because it's bad. I just don't think this is what I was in the mood for when I started reading it. I'll probably end up picking this up again in a few days. It's definitely not any kind of DNF. I think I will really like this when I get into it. The thing is, I've just been feeling a bit anxious the last 2 days, and I think I just needed to read a book that was predictable. And because this is like a little bit darker, these aren't like full-on dark romance. They're not too dark, but they definitely have darker elements. And it's not necessarily that made me not want to read it right now. It's more like the unpredictability of it. Even though they are based on Disney stories, obviously they are very different. They have a lot of dark elements that the Disney stories don't have. So I just didn't really want to read anything where I didn't know what to expect. I'm in the mood to read something that's like easy, no brain power, just I know how it's going to go. So I've put this down very temporarily, but I think I will still read this like within the next couple of weeks. So I then picked up on my Kindle A False Start by Elsie Silver, which is the final book in the Gold Rush Ranch series. And I am, let's see how many pages in I am, because I actually don't know. I haven't read any of it today. So all of these pages I read yesterday. I'm on page 78, so that's 20% through the book. And I plan to read quite a lot of this today, because again, I'm just going to be sat, taking it easy. So yeah, I plan to read quite a lot of this today. I'm currently on chapter 9. And this is an age gap forbidden brother's best friend. Like, I won't say hate to love, I don't think they know each other enough. Like, they don't hate each other, but they definitely, like the title of the book suggests, they have a false start. They get off basically on the wrong foot. They have like, especially our female main character, Nadia, who is Stefan Dalker's little sister. Stefan comes up throughout the series, and the third book is his book. So this one is about his little sister. She definitely has like a lot of preconceived notions about Griffin, the male main character, and she's not a fan. She's not really a fan of him. He's 14 years older than her, and he's like very concerned about that, because obviously I don't think 14 years is like that much really. There's definitely bigger age gaps in books, but it's more because she's younger. So when they first meet, she's 19 and he's 33, if my maths is correct. So he's more concerned about the fact of like, it's his his best friend's little sister, and also just the fact that she's young, and he feels like obviously he doesn't want to take advantage of that. But I do kind of love like an age gap romance. We need to decide how many pages we need to read. I really hope it's not many today, guys. I can't lie, like I really do not feel great, but we'll see. It's not in my hands. What should we put the maximum as today? Let's put it as 200 today, between 50 and 200. The 10 was obviously already there. Generate. Stunning. Thank you so much. Whoever made this, thank you. Like, compliments to the chef. And that's where the video ended. There's no outro, so here I am. I'm just going to do a very quick run through because I said I would at the beginning. So day 1, the goal was 62 pages and I read 210. Day 2, the goal was 248 and I read 376. Day 3, the goal was 133 and I read 387. Day 4, the goal was 127 and I read 267. And the last day, the one you've just seen, the goal was 50 pages and I really pushed the boat out, guys. I read 57. I really pushed it there. So yeah, that brings us to the end of this video. I'm still completely gobsmacked that I completed this and didn't fail. Complete news to me that I could actually read that many pages in a day. I've said it before, I'll say it again. Thank you to audiobooks for carrying me through this video. If you're going to come in the comments and argue and try and tell me that audiobooks don't count, off you pop. I'm not interested. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you did enjoy, please give it a thumbs up down below. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you in my next one.